Hello, Apes crew. It's Kara Lenorvitz, and welcome back to our 11th week of this semester. We are getting both close to the end of the semester and close to your College Board exam, so we are making some great progress, and it's an important time to keep up your momentum. So let's dive right in. Most of the housekeeping stuff this week is going to be the same as it has been. As you know, there are important links that I add into the weekly learning plan, so make sure you're referencing that. In particular, this week, some of the work that you're doing out of 9.03, there are some faulty links in the lessons themselves. So I've given you some updated links to some of the information on the different major disasters, human health disasters that happened and are referred to in the lesson. So make sure you check those out. In terms of our synchronous session, we are going to meet this Thursday. I apologize, there was a significant scheduling challenge last week, so I hope you enjoyed that 45 minutes of extra time to yourself. We will meet this Thursday from 8:30 to 9:15, so make sure you're available and ready for that. Office hours. There's a slight change this week. There will not be any office hours on Tuesday. I will not be available that day. The good news is I'm going to be getting my second COVID vaccine shot. So that's going to put me out of commission for that day. If you do need help, though, please know that there are office hours available on Wednesday afternoon, and I'm more than happy to connect with you during that time. And a couple of things in terms of upcoming stuff. As promised, VTVLC has asked all of us as teachers to go ahead and replace any missing assignments that you have that are more than 2 weeks old with zeros. So you may now start to see, if you have missing work, some zeros in the gradebook. That's really there as an intention to help you first and foremost so that you have a really clear idea of where you are progress and status-wise for your grade so far this year. Remember, for Apes, this is actually calculating your full year-long grade. So you want to make sure you kind of have an idea of where you're going with that. Also remember that those zeros do not mean that you're done with something. They mean that you need to go back and give that work some attention. And as you do and have it turned in, it will get graded, and those zeros will turn into a numerical score that is much, much, much more to your advantage. So make sure you're taking care of those pieces. The other thing that is very close on the horizon is April break. As we've been talking about, our school schedules don't all line up perfectly. So we will all be in class this week. The following week, some of you are on vacation for your April break, and the week after that, I will be on vacation for my April break. So just like we did for February break, on the 12th, I will give you a weekly learning plan that spans that 2-week stretch of time. You can adjust for your schedule, whether you're doing that work during the first week, during the second week, or stretching it over that 2-week period of time. So that's the best way for us to accommodate the fact that we have variations in our vacation schedules. Also, do keep in mind, for those of you who are taking the College Board exam, that is very near on the horizon. So we're going to continue to aim for getting ready for that. So that College Board exam info, thank you. You all have given me some updated information on your plans around that College Board exam. For those of you who are taking it, I believe our closest date that we have, the first one coming up, is going to be on May 27th. So you may have noticed that I adjusted a little bit some of the scheduling. You may see some due dates that have changed a little bit, and it was in response to your feedback of when your exam is going to be. Remember that the structure of that exam is going to be the same as what we've discussed all year long. It's 3 hours. You have 90 minutes for 80 multiple choice questions, 70 minutes for 3 free response questions. And you should already have been in contact with your school's College Board coordinator to make sure you're registered, that you know which format you're going to be taking, and that you know what date you're going to be taking it on. So make sure that you are following through with all those steps, and we're going to continue to work hard as a class to get everybody ready for that. One analogy I might make is this is a little bit like the Tour de France. Even though you often just see one lead rider that's wearing that yellow shirt, there is a whole team that's behind that rider. So regardless of how you're approaching this College Board exam, know that you are going to be that support person for somebody else who is getting themselves ready for that College Board exam. In terms of resources, as you know, AP Classroom is something we're going to continue to use. I did not pull it directly into this week's weekly learning plan. However, we are going to start to pull in some more practice exams through there, so make sure you have an account that's working. As well, you know that we have an additional Apes textbook. This one is great. It is fully up to date with current data. And I've given you the link within our weekly learning plan for the corresponding content and chapters that relate back to what we're doing with toxicology and risk. And then again, just continue to keep in touch with your school's College Board Coordinator. So what's going to happen this week? You have one new round of content that you're going to be tackling, and that's around toxicology. Part of what you're going to be learning about are several different areas of the world where there have been some significant tragedies due to toxins that the human population has been exposed to. Some of those have happened in the United States. Some of them have happened in other places of the world. All of them have further informed safety practices and environmental regulations to help continue to try to protect both human health and environmental conditions. You are also going to be doing a lab where you're going to be constructing what are called dose response curves. These are graphs that represent the impact of varying increases of dosing of a particular toxin and whether that has a health or a lethal effect on an organism. So you're going to be crafting response curves that look something like this. You're going to be interpreting them to understand what the threshold dose is. On this graph, it would be down here. It's the highest dose that can happen without having an ill effect or an ill response from an individual. And also the LD50, which is the lethal dose 50, the dose that kills 50% of the test population. Please know that these are typically done with Daphnia, which are super tiny little zooplankton that have a very short lifespan, a very high metabolism, and probably not huge impact on their species when we use them as test subjects. Those are then translated to how we apply them to humans. So you're going to do a little bit of learning about that. You are going to be focusing on graphing, so make sure you use good graphing techniques here. You are also going to be taking your next AP Math and exam prep. I emphasize the math part here because this time you're really going to be working on free response questions that focus on data set and data analysis. Showing your work, making sure you keep track of units throughout your work, and making sure you have correct units in your final answer are all going to be critically important, so make sure you practice those things here. As well, you're going to be continuing what should hopefully be our 6th and last week of data collection for the Collaborative Solid Waste Lab. So make sure your data is collected, make sure it's up to date in your shared document, and that you're continuing both that quantitative data of your actual measurements of dimensions, as well as your qualitative data of pictures of your banana peel and your paper, so that we can do the next step of analysis together as a group. And of course, you're going to attend class on Thursday. We will be there together this Thursday, so I look forward to seeing all of you. Let's look at the weekly learning plan for a little more detail. All right, you know the routine with the setup, so there's an overview at the very beginning, the new learning objectives, so you'll notice there are 3 content-based ones, and then 3 that have to do with your exam and math prep, and then our continued ones on the Solid Waste Collaborative Lab. In terms of communication reminders, you know how to reach me. Thank you for being great with the details that you're including in your emails. And then you're going to see what you need to work on this week. Again, I've given you here the information for AP textbook, additional textbook, is in parallel in chapter 17. So you have that as a great resource if you want a little bit more detail on any of the content that comes up in this lesson. You're going to be focusing on toxicology, and as mentioned, I've included the links, the external links for each of those locations here, as some of them within the lesson are not functioning as they should. You are going to be doing your toxicology lab, so that's going to be what will take you to the end there. And then you're going to be working on your AP exam and math prep. This week you're working on part 1. If you have it completed by this Sunday, the 11th, I will try to have feedback for you by Wednesday, the 14th. The next portion of it, part 2, is going to be due on Sunday, the 25th. So have to have part 1 done for me to get you feedback. Thank you for trying to do that on time, and I will try to turn that around quickly for you. And then you're going to work on your collaborative waste lab. Again, at this point, you should have data from weeks 1 through 5. You're adding in your data from week 6. And make sure you bring that data with you, updated in our shared document and pictures, to our class on Thursday. As well, on Thursday, if you can bring your choice of disease that you covered for 9.02, we're going to do a little bit of work around just sharing some of the information that we learned about those different diseases. Again, reminder that we don't have any office hours on Tuesday this week. And in terms of upcoming stuff, we're going to get as far as we can with wrapping up most of Module 9 before we go on April break. As soon as we come back, you're going to be finishing it with the Module 9 DBA and exam and delving into Module 10, which is our last module of the year. So hang in there. All right, to sum up, 4 jobs this week. 9.03, remember again to use your good graphing techniques as you work on representing the data from that lab. 9.04, make sure you're showing your work and thinking in units with anything that requires math-based thinking. And 10.06, make sure you're continuing to collect your data. Do not yet dispose of your lab materials. Let's make sure that we've got enough data that we feel satisfied with that when we see each other in class on Thursday. And then, of course, you're going to join class on Thursday. Please bring that updated data. Make sure it's in the shared document in your disease topic that you chose for 9.02. As usual, please reach out if you need help or have questions, and I look forward to seeing you all on Thursday. Have a great week.